Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Hike, Heal, and Hustle, the podcast where we move our bodies, soothe our spirits, and honor our money with purpose. I'm your host, Randy Black, and this weekend I took my family on a restorative retreat to Vogel State Park in North Georgia. Y'all, the mountains held us, the lake calmed us, and I'm bringing all that goodness back to you. Today's episode is about what happens when Black women and Black men, because my nephew joined us on Saturday, rest. When we breathe, when we choose joy over grind and nature over noise. Let's get into it. So we're going to begin with our first pillar hike. So we arrived at Vogel State Park around 9 p.m. Friday night. It was dusky. The air smelled like pine and possibility. That evening, we sat around a small fire outside of our cottage. We stayed in Cottage 28. I highly recommend Cottage 28. It's secluded enough where you feel you have some privacy. If you want to take advantage of the fire pit or the grill, you're far enough away that you can laugh and joke and people are not like right next to you. But you're close enough that if something happens, somebody can hear your screams. But I'm halfway joking. Also, uh, uh, I guess they're called rangers at the state park. They're like constantly patrolling. Like that dang on truck. I saw that truck so many times. I was like, I love it. So very, very safe, although very secluded. We were in the midst of the trees. You can go to my Instagram, YouTube. I'm going to be uploading videos of what it actually looked like. But back to the episode. Um, anyway, so we were in Cottage 28. We're just breathing and roasting marshmallows. Now, I say until after midnight, but it was more like 1 a.m. It was between midnight and 1 a.m. I lost track of time. There's no Wi-Fi unless you're in the cottage. Now, outside the cottage, of course, the perimeter of the cottage, but we were not on our phones. And I brought 20-year-olds with me, okay? No phones. And they loved it. So the next day, which was Saturday, of course, we hiked the Trahlyta Lake Trail. It's a peaceful 1 mile loop that circles a glistening lake at Vogel State Park. It was a gentle trail, but deeply healing. Now, if you venture off the loop, and there's a sign, it's not hard to find. You venture off the hike loop, you can hike the trail, which ends at a breathtaking waterfall. Again, visit my Instagram to see photos and videos of the trail, of the waterfalls, the scenery, the whole 9 yards is going to be on my social media. So after hiking, my nephew and my youngest daughter went fishing, while my oldest daughter and I found a spot near the creek to simply be. So there's a creek inside Vogel State Park that just travels through the whole park. And we just found this, oh my gosh. Like I feel like I'm back there. So we found this spot near the creek. I bought my picnic blanket and yoga mat because I wanted to be able to be a little bit softer because this is ground. And she did some sketching and journaling, and we watched the water move. That was enough. Just watching that creek because I'm a huge fan of running waters. Listening to the creek and watching that water move. I mean, that was just enough for us. But we did more. We practiced the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. I am a grounding practitioner. So, what is that? See, 5 things we can see. Put my hands up, you can see. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see it. But those of you who are listening on different podcasts, I'm holding up my hands to show 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's 5 things we can see, 4 things we could touch, 3 things we could hear, 2 things we could smell, and 1 thing we could taste. So you take the time to do that in the moment while you're grounding, which could be being barefoot, and I was on the grass, sand, and I'll get more into that throughout this podcast. So that's 5 things we could see, 4 things we could touch, 3 things we could hear, 2 things we could smell, and 1 we could taste. That practice brought us here, like grounded, fully present, fully grounded. And on Sunday, we visited Helton Creek Falls. Y'all, we stepped into that icy cold water. And let me tell you, it was shocking, but cleansing and powerful. Cold water immersion in nature will reset you in ways no spa can. It was amazing. And yes, I did in the water. My oldest daughter actually swam in this water. I can swim. I chose not to because it wasn't that hot this weekend. It wasn't that warm. So we're talking icy cold water, and the atmosphere wasn't even that hot. It was, I would say, high 60s, 70s. I don't know. We were, and also you're in the forest, so you're covered by trees. I got to stay focused. Now let's shift into healing. Okay, Sunday morning, before the world woke up, and this was planned. My daughter and I planned to get up and do a sunrise meditation. I told her I was going to be doing. I went to the lake. The lake, this is the lake that's inside of Vogel State Park. So I went down to the lake, and I practiced my grounding with the earth. No shoes. I didn't have on any shoes. It was just my skin to the soil. That early morning stillness, it was sacred. I breathed deeply. I touched the damp grass and the damp sand. And I let myself exist without a to-do list. I also led the family through a moment of reflection around the campfire each night. My daughter used that time to journal. And around the campfire, each of us shared one thing we wanted to leave behind. Mine, rest is not a reward, it's a right. We also did forest sound bathing. If you've never tried it, it's simple. You just close your eyes, you tune into the landscape, the soundscape. And when you're in the forest, it's actually really easy to do. So you're closing your eyes, you're going to tune into this soundscape. That's going to be the rustling leaves, the bird song, the distant ripple of water. So every woman or man listening, you're not just a provider or a planner. You're a soul that deserves softness, solitude, and deep healing. Find your version of peace and protect it. Now, our third and final pillar, hustle. But let's redefine hustle. It's not as burnout or busy work, but as clarity, alignment, and purpose with your money. So this trip to Vogel didn't break the bank because I ain't got no bank to break. The cottage was affordable. Now, I'm the when you go onto Vogel in particular, each state park has a different price, of course, for their cottages. The cottages price depend on the season that you go and the size of the cottage. So they can range from $85 to $250 a night. Just depends on when you go, just depends on what size. Now, for us, I could every meal before we arrived. This was a no cook weekend. So before we left, I made a couple of meals. I talked to my family and said, what is this what y'all want? I'm going to make a bunch of it. We're going to put it in bowls and we're going to take it up there with us. And so all we had to do was heat and eat. We bought snacks, we had water, we had juice, we had water bottles so that way when we left the cottage, we can have some water with us. So our main luxury was time. And sometimes we think wellness has to cost $500 a night and include a matching robe. But no, peace is found in simplicity. By Sunday afternoon, honey, we had hiked. We meditated, fished, kayak, journaled, and even braved those icy waterfalls. And the family is already asking, when's the next trip? That's how you know it mattered. And we were leaving Helton Creek. My nephew drove, like I said, he met us up there. So he was in his car and we were getting ready to head back home. And all he could talk about how much fun he had. He was like, since I've been here, coming up here yesterday, because he came Saturday and this was Sunday, and he said, I've been doing something every minute that we've been here, and it has been so much fun. And he was like, are we coming back? And the girls had already said it on Friday night. When we coming back? So I know that's how I know that this mattered to them. And I am absolutely planning our next trip. I already told them I'm planning the next one. Be on the lookout on your phones for a text message for dates. Anyway, one night, as the fire was crackling, I wrote this in my journal. My wealth begins with rest. My budget reflects my joy. That's one of my money mantras. Hustling doesn't mean exhaustion. It means being a good steward of your energy and your resources. So, what did this weekend at Vogel teach me? That our bodies want to move, that our spirits need stillness, and that our money should serve our joy, not steal it. So, here's my challenge to you this week: take one barefoot step into nature, write one truth in your journal, make one financial decision from a place of calm, not chaos. And if you do, tag it in your spirit and at Hike, Heal, and Hustle. Until next time, keep hiking, keep healing, and keep hustling, building your beautiful legacy.